Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so take a deep breath, get comfortable, and really prepare yourself. Because today we're exploring literally the most private, secluded location imaginable, your very own mind. We're looking at that quiet, constant companion that follows you everywhere. Yeah, I'm talking about your inner voice.
Notice what just happened right there? The voice reading the sentence did not ask your permission to begin. It just appeared the absolute second your eyes hit these words. It quietly performs the words you already understand, and it pauses exactly where the punctuation tells it to. You didn't flip a switch to activate it. It just happened on its own. Which immediately brings us to this incredibly uncomfortable, yet, deeply fascinating question. Is that voice actually you, or is it merely something happening inside you? I mean, it sounds like you, it uses your vocabulary, it knows your deepest regrets and exactly what argument you want to rehearse at 2 a.m, but who is really talking? Okay, Section 1, the voice reading this. Let's dive right in and observe how this strange internal presence actually works. So you might just assume everyone has a constant inner monologue running like a background radio, right? Well, actually, scratch that. It's not true. Human minds have completely different operating systems. Recent research explores something called endophagia. Basically, this means some people experience little to absolutely no inner speech. Instead of full sentences, they think primarily through images, spatial relationships, or just wordless concepts. Neither way is better, they're just different cognitive interfaces. But for those of us who do hear that voice, where on earth does it come from? That brings us to Section 2, where the voice comes from. Let's look at the neuroscience and developmental biology behind our internal narrator. First off, we have to understand that inner speech is not just normal talking with the volume turned down. It's highly compressed into what we call condensed inner speech. See, when you speak to someone else out loud, you have to use proper grammar and context. But inside your own head, you don't need to explain things to yourself. A whole complex thought like, oh, I need to remember to grab my car keys tomorrow morning, just shrinks down into a tiny silent fragment, keys tomorrow. But how did that tool actually get in there? Well, it happens in 3 steps. It starts externally, with adults giving instructions to young kids, naming objects, correcting behavior. Then, step 2, you'll often see children speaking aloud to themselves while playing to guide their own actions. They'll say things out loud like, no, not that piece. Finally, in step 3, that speech doesn't just disappear. It moves completely inward. It becomes fully internalized as a private tool. The instructions once spoken by your caregivers literally become the instructions you can privately give yourself. And consider this really profound truth about our inner critic. An old social environment becomes a modern prediction system. Your private voice actually learned its materials from other people, parents, teachers, society. If you repeatedly experienced criticism as a kid, your brain learned a specific style of evaluation. So when your inner voice is super harsh today, it feels incredibly intimate, but it's actually strangely borrowed. It's using rules learned from past environments to predict outcomes right now. Crazy, right? Moving on to Section 3, a tool for your brain. The crucial point here is that this voice isn't just decoration. It is a highly active mechanism. Your inner voice actually serves incredibly practical functions for your cognition. First, it acts as your verbal working memory. That's the internal loop that keeps a shortcode or a phone number alive in your head until you can finally write it down. It also handles planning by dividing complex instructions into manageable steps. And perhaps most importantly, it acts as a social simulator. Your inner voice is this safe little simulator that allows language to fail privately. You can privately test how a sentence might sound, soften a critique, or try out a joke without causing an international incident in the real world. Section 4, the press secretary illusion. Here's where we encounter a fascinating twist regarding the illusion of authority this voice holds over your actions. We usually tend to view our inner narrator as the CEO of our brain, right? Making all the decisions and issuing commands. But in reality, neuroscience suggests it behaves way more like a press secretary. Your visual systems, emotional systems, and habit systems are processing information and making choices in mere milliseconds. Your attention shifts before your narrator has even finished assembling its sentence about why it shifted. The voice basically arrives after the decision with a respectable explanation for a choice your brain has already made. Let's transition to Section 5, dealing with intrusive thoughts. This is a really emotionally resonant part of this explainer. Why does the inner voice sometimes say cruel, weird, or completely inappropriate things? Listen to this closely. An intrusive thought is an event in the mind, not a confession submitted by the soul. Your brain is constantly generating possibilities, predicting danger, and searching for associations. Sometimes it spits out a thought so absurd or offensive, you kind of wonder what kind of person you are. But here is the empathetic reassurance you absolutely need. Producing a disturbing thought is absolutely not the same as endorsing it. The distress you feel when a bad thought pops up doesn't prove secret agreement. It actually demonstrates your rejection of it. So what happens when we try to fight these unwanted sentences? Let's look at the classic white bear experiment. Step 1. I instruct you not to think about a white bear. Seriously, whatever you do, do not think about a white bear. Step 2. To make sure you're complying, a part of your mind constantly monitors and checks if the forbidden bear has returned, which naturally leads to, step 3, the bear thoughts rebound stronger than before. By trying to force an unwanted sentence away, you wrap it in mental effort and importance, making it far more persistent.
Section 6, is it really you? So if the voice is partly borrowed, often arrives after decisions are made, and sometimes says things you completely hate, who is the real you?
Well, your inner voice creates a sense of continuity. It weaves your past, present, and future into a single character. But remember, this continuity is highly edited. Your narrator acts like an autobiographer working from totally incomplete notes. It ignores some events, emphasizes others, and constantly revises the official story as new information comes in. It's constructing the best available model, sure, but it is not the complete picture. Because you are so much more than just language. You are also the nonverbal prediction, the rapid, wordless calculations your brain makes to keep you safe and help you navigate the world. These happen infinitely faster than a sentence could ever describe. You are the practiced skill. Think about catching a fast-moving ball, or getting lost in the flow of playing music, or instantly reading the emotional temperature of a room. These are deeply complex human actions that require absolutely zero inner monologue to execute perfectly. You are the bodily signal. Your identity is fundamentally tied to the physical impulses and emotional responses of your body, your heart rate, your muscle tension. Language is a powerful format, no doubt about it, but it is not the only format your mind understands. Ultimately, the voice cannot contain the entire mind that produced it. Your inner voice is simply a loop within a much, much larger system. Your brain generates language from memories, emotions, and habits, and then feeds that language back into the system for you to evaluate. The voice is shaped by you, for sure, but it isn't the entirety of you. Ownership is not totality. So I want to leave you with this lingering question at the end of our explainer today. The voice is part of you, yes, but who answers it? Think about it. If you can hear the internal sentence, react to it, judge it, and decide whether or not to obey it, then you are not just the voice speaking. You are the vast, silent, incredible mind listening. Thank you so much for exploring your own mind with us today. Keep questioning, and we'll see you next time.